What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two for Two, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. As always, I'm your host, Quis. I'm here with my boy, Nell. And we got a really good episode for y'all, man. Coming off of the conference championship in the NFL, we got a lot of good things going on in the NBA. And you know, the only place to hear it all about it is here at Two for Two. So stick with us, enjoy. We got season 3, episode 26. Nell, my brother, how you feeling today?
Well, Keith, feeling all good, man. How you?
Hey man, you know it's good. We both have finally moved out of the where we had to watch our teams play football and then come back on the pod after a loss, A week off, a week out of NFL season for me has been great. Um, you know, Another day on the pod though, as always, is a great time, to be here and talk to sports, man.
That's the best type of therapy, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the only type of therapy we know now. People that this is for the podcast versus therapy communities, right?
Nah, real shit.
But wait, look, we had a really exciting weekend, right? We had the conference championships. We had the Pat Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson face off. We had the young, upstart, upbeat Lions facing off with the seems to kind of be like the little villain arc here from the 49ers as well. So we're just gonna go jump right into it, man. Pat Mahomes, the Grim Reaper, the man that we said we would never, ever, ever go against. What do we both do? We went against him. And what did he do? Prove us wrong. However, now we did very specifically say that a few things could turn the tide of this game. We were both right, right? We talked about Lamar Jackson having to make throws, beat the Chiefs passing the ball. He didn't perform as well as we would have liked, right? The Baltimore Ravens also ultimately didn't run the ball. 7 carries, I think, total for the running backs for the Baltimore Ravens in the game where we said they had to control the line of scrimmage, stay true to yourselves. It's so often that we see coaches in the NFL think that you got to switch something up. And I was surprised by Coach Monken because I sent you a tweet where he talked about his wife always says, why wouldn't you just run the plays that work? And he said, that's exactly what we should do. You should just run the plays that work. And what did he do? He went out there and he ran a bunch of plays that we didn't see, right? This didn't look like the Ravens that we came to see all of this
Yeah, that
season.
was wild.
So tell me, so what do you think went wrong for the Ravens, man?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nail. Like they pretty much just ran an offense that we really didn't see them run the entire season. Only 6, 7 carries by their running backs. Lamar led the team in carries with 8. I mean, even Zay Flowers had 3 carries, I think 2 or 3 carries. So like, he had a pretty good game, fumble aside. He's going to be a good player for them going forward. But I just thought, if they came in and they ran the football like they were accustomed to doing, I thought they would have won that game. If you would have told me the Chiefs were only going to score 17 points, like I would have been like, all right, well, Ravens got a great chance of winning that game, and they probably going to blow them out.
Mhm.
So I said I don't know if Lamar can, outdo Patty if he's got to play from behind and he's got to win with his arm. And we saw he couldn't get the job done. You can. I mean, we talked to at least me. You were a big Baltimore fan all season, but I told you I kind of just didn't believe in the weapons and. When shit hit the fan and, you got to win with your arm against these great quarterbacks, I just didn't think they had the weapons to do that. Lamar didn't play great. He had a fumble. Obviously, the fumble by Zay Flowers in the end zone was like,
That hurt.
super costly. But that's the name. That's the name of the game. I didn't like the game plan going into it. Give Kansas City's defense a lot of credit. They've been doing it all year on that side of the ball. Pretty much since they moved on from Tyreek Hill, they've invested in that defense. Got a lot younger on that defense. It's been the most consistent unit of that team all season long. So give them a lot of credit for going, on the road again and, showing up on that side. We've seen this as a recipe for so many, Super Bowl winning teams. A great defense can carry it away. And, when you got the greatest quarterback of all time, possibly and Patrick Mahomes, like you put a great defense behind it. It don't really. I mean, this is probably the worst receiving core Mahomes has ever dealt with and probably will deal with. Like it can only go up from here. I mean, it can't get much worse. Rashee Rice is, look like he's going to be a fabulous player for them, so he's only going to get better, and I'm pretty sure they'll make additions. So, for him to, get this team to a Super Bowl with, weapons that he had this year and inconsistencies on offense, I mean, I don't know how you stop Patrick Mahomes, especially if this defense stays, consistently good. You just got to get Patrick in there, and he'll find a way to get your team there.
Yeah, it's kind of to your point, man. If you would have told me the Chiefs only scored 17 and won the game, I mean, I really, like you said, I would have thought you were crazy. I mean, the Ravens defense didn't have a bad game plan. I mean, they were fine. I expect that from Coach McDonald. I expect that from a Harbaugh-led team. Um, but to your point, man, the Chiefs defense really was kind of they were the main story of this game. It's not even that, Lamar played awful because he didn't. It's not even that he didn't make plays because he did make some plays. I mean, early on, I'm not gonna lie, when the Chiefs went up 7-0, after the way the Ravens kind of started, I was like, oh, they might be cooked, right? And then they come back, boom, Zay Flowers touchdown. I'm like, all right, we got us a little football game. And, I think it kind of shows how great how well coached the Ravens are that they were able to kind of stick around despite the offense kind of being a little wonky. It speaks to Lamar's talent, despite not having a great passing game. He didn't even have a great run game, really, or a great game on the ground, I'd say. It was still a 7-point game, but in the playoffs, we know what it is, right? Win by any means. The Chiefs didn't have to do a whole lot, right? Pat Mahomes did just enough. He made just enough plays. Travis Kelce had a hell of a day, right? Pacheco played well again, like you said, Rashee Rice. And then what? MVS making a couple big catches down the stretch. That kind of sealed the game for him. So, I mean, the Chiefs, my question really is, when it comes to playoff time, we haven't really, I think Pat Mahomes only lost to what, Brady in the playoffs?
And Burrow.
And Burrow, right? And
I
Joe
forget
Burrow.
my guy.
You're right. It's easy to forget about him this year. But anyway, without those two guys present, Pat Mahomes runs through the AFC every year, right? Tom Brady's
Yeah,
not.
I don't know what you can do. Like,
You know,
this is probably the worst roster he had, and
and
he's
still,
still
right?
he's still getting it done. So,
And he hasn't even had to beat a team by himself yet, right? He hasn't had to go into that mode where the
and
Reaper just
he's went. It's not like he had a cupcake,
nope.
playoff schedule too. Like, he ran through.
And he won
You
that
would
game on the
you would say the top three teams in the AFC this past season.
He did. I mean, it's to me, he's solid. I mean, if there were any doubters, I know that a lot of the casual NFL world, including the non-casual NFL world, we're tired of the Swifty talk and Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes' wife, his brother, his family. All that. I know that the antics are getting annoying, but at the end of the day, the product on the field, we're watching the best football player in the world every single game. And I don't see Pat Mahomes stopping. Um,
Possibly ever.
yeah, ever. I mean, realistically, like you said it. He had a bad team and did this, right? I said it. It looked like they were low managing all year, right? Like Pat will do a little something here, but we also said it right in the playoffs. The Pat Mahomes, where we see him trying to do a lot, make crazy throws. We don't see any of that. He's playing turnover free football. They're running the ball, converting on third down, mixing up the play call, and the defense is getting stops. I mean, I just don't see the Chiefs ever really slowing down. So that brings me to my next point because I think we've accepted that I don't really think anybody can beat this guy and this team. But what's next for the Ravens, right? The Ravens, Lamar had an MVP year, will win MVP. John Harbaugh, great year. Defense played great. Roquan Smith, Pat Queen, Kyle Hamilton had a hell of a game in the playoffs in this game against the Chiefs, but it wasn't enough. So aside from giving them more weapons, because I think that's the main thing that we always gonna say, right? He needs more, he needs more, he needs more. What is next for the Ravens? Can they replicate this season? Is it something is it as simple as get him a true wide receiver one? Do you think Zay Flowers is a wide receiver one? Personally, I think he might be more fringe 1-2, but he's a rookie right now. I don't know where he projects with how this offense plays, with how his offense runs. So, from you now, what do you think is next for the Ravens?
I think, like you said, I mean, the obvious, just cliche answers. Get him some more weapons. Uh, try to build off this year and get the job done. But I think as a team, and from a play calling perspective, they've got to. I don't want to say this like Lamar isn't some great player, but you've got to treat him, like the player that he is. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not a pocket quarterback. So when we get into the postseason, don't all of a sudden switch up the game plan and try to make him into the player that he's not. It kind of felt like they were trying to make this a duel between Mahomes and Lamar. Um, but go what got you there. The elite run game on the ground and an elite defense backing you up. So, I think obviously you can upgrade at the wide receiver position. Odell, making the money he made didn't have much of any impact this season with the team. He probably had 10 catches the entire year. Mark Andrews, who knows how healthy he really was in this postseason, had 2 catches in the AFC Championship. So, Lamar is just going to have to continue growing, from the pocket. But, I think going forward, I feel like it was right there for him. But, I think the game plan really held them back. So they've got to just, recognize what Lamar is and isn't, and, don't deviate from that game plan when you get to the brightest stage that you've gotten so far.
It's something so small. It's just like, because you watch the game, you're not like the Ravens didn't have a chance. It wasn't one of those type of games. I mean, Zay Flowers fumble, that's 7 points that they missed out on. Lamar threw a bad pick, but might have been defensive pass interference. Maybe not. That's another thing with this game that some people are looking at. But the main just like you said, the Ravens just didn't play like the Ravens did all season. Like there wasn't a game this year until this one where I could say the Ravens just flat out said, forget everything that we're about. Let's let Lamar go out there and sling it 40 times. Like that's not ideal, right? Especially not against a Chiefs defense. Not establishing the run,
A
not
Chiefs defense that gave up, close to 200 rushing yards the week prior.
and then we talked about it now. I mean, what Gus Edwards comes in, first carry 15 yards. He doesn't get another carry for until like the end of the half on like a garbage time run. And then he got one more carry at the second half. That also went for 9 yards almost. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy had a decent game running the ball, averaging over 8 yards a carry, but he only got the ball 3 times. You signed Dalvin Cook. I don't even think he played. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like the Ravens have to understand that they can win a Super Bowl being the Ravens. You didn't have to go out there and try to change it. So I mean, big ups to the Chiefs, man. We're not gonna get into Super Bowl predictions in this episode because we got another week. So we're gonna do our Super Bowl preview next week. We're just gonna recap the games right here for y'all. But we got another game where we kind of saw, to my boy Walt's point when we talked in our chat the other night, we saw a team that didn't let the pressure of a game deviate them from who they are. Really, both teams, honestly, right? I mean, the Niners beat the Lions 34-31 in a comeback fashion, right? The Niners were their team. They have a great offensive scheme. They run the ball, play action pass, get it to the playmakers. Boom. Lions aggressive. They risk it. That's how they play. Dan Campbell did just that. Risk it one too many times in this game, and it came back to bite him. So is this game though? Was this more about what the Niners did, or would you say that the Lions just flat out blew it?
I mean, when you blow a 17-point lead in the second half, like you definitely contribute, something. You definitely blew it and contribute a lot to that loss. But I'm actually going to say, the 49ers, I think it's more about them. They played as bad of a first half as we've seen them play all year. And that second half, just, they were just relentless. McCaffrey, Purdy stepped up, made some big throws. IU, making crazy catches. Juwan Jennings, crazy one-hand catch on third down. Like, the 49ers made, as much as the Lions choked this one away, the Niners made a lot of just, insane plays. Some would say lucky plays, just crazy great plays. So, give them a ton of credit for making the plays necessary to get back in this game. I know the Lions, nobody wants to be conservative anymore. We see, coaches getting killed more often than not for, not going for it on fourth down. But I think in a situation like the situation has to dictate it. You can't just say you were aggressive all year. And so, in that situation, we're going to go for it. I think in that moment, I'm a huge proponent of like momentum, especially in sports. When you're playing on the road, everything's on the line. This isn't just regular season where you can just say, all right, well, just learn from this and, go at it next week. I gave the 49ers a lot of momentum, whether you believe in momentum or not. Like, those guys were fired up in that second half, and they ended up only losing by 3. Like mm-hmm. that's how much 3 points can swing a game, and a kick could be that important. So, who's to say whether the Lions, whether it had any correlation on, the final score of the game. But, I think that gave the sideline and, the players a lot of juice getting that stop and going right back out there, knowing that, they had a chance to cut the lead even more.
It's a hero zero thing. That's something that, my high school coach used to always, say the hero zero play. If you make the play, you're the hero. You don't, you're going to come sit next to me. But
it works when it works. But right. When it doesn't, it can cost you games and cost you jobs.
Exactly. And that's the thing where it's like, for me now, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the Lions had an opportunity to go to a Super Bowl. This is a team that hasn't seen success in years, decades. You know what I'm saying? Decades. I mean, call it what it is. You get an opportunity. You right there. You got all the momentum in the world. Take your points. Game is a different story, probably. Like you said, we can't necessarily say what would have occurred or not. But to your point, that momentum from a team when it's like you come into the game. Obviously, I'm sure with Dan Campbell as your coach, the Lions, I'm sure they believe they can win this game. But you're the underdog, right? You're on the road. What's at stake. Like, it's an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. You can kick yourself about this decision later after you play in the Super Bowl. But I have a hard time, kind of grasping it when you look at it, because it doesn't really give yourself the best opportunity to win. Like, yeah, did it give you a chance to me, it's one of those decisions that's like, shit, I ain't supposed to be here. I don't know what's gonna happen. So we're gonna try it. And if we get this, you know what I'm saying, that saves us. We can chill. It's one of them, if I get this play, we don't have to worry about them scoring because whatever. But what's the back end of that? Like your field goal kicker makes a field goal, makes that field goal more often than not. If he misses a field goal, that's a different story, but we don't even get to live to have that conversation. We don't, some of the things with the timeouts and going for it, it's just a lot for me to really grasp for a coach that's like, now what? We're going to question every decision Dan Campbell makes for the rest of his career, right? Like, Dan Campbell has officially written, like, I wrote here, like, do you think the Lions can ever get to this point? Like, when I asked, did they blow it? Like, not did they just blow this game? Like, the Lions might not ever go to another conference championship again now. Like, it's possible. It's very, like, it's a year-to-year thing. Like, this is a team, like, yeah, they're young. They're going to keep getting better. You've seen it now, but it's even harder once you've been there to do what it takes to get there again, let alone do what it takes to get there again and win. So for me, I'm a little upset with them. I think, you had a chance. You had the top dogs in the league all season on the ropes. Down a half. Purdy was struggling. Granted, like, okay, the IU catch was insane, absurd. But it's football. It's happening. Professional sports. This is what these guys get paid millions of dollars to do. So I'm upset that the Lions, I feel like Dan, didn't really give his team a shot. I know you want to encourage the guys. You want to, try to swing that momentum your way. You on the road, underdog, fighter mentality. But, that's when that other side of coaching is like, let's just be smart here.
I hate when people don't take the points when they're winning. Like
Yep.
I can understand you having to be aggressive in certain moments when you're down. Um, even certain situations maybe in the fourth quarter, but like third quarter like that,
Yep.
just coming out the half, just getting some points on the board, that possession,
Yeah.
maybe you have more confidence coming out the next offensive possession instead of,
Hmm.
that momentum flipped and now it's like, oh crap, like they're starting to make a run. Now we've got pressure on us to have to go
Right.
down and get some points this next offense possession. And now now everyone's just wetting the bed.
And your team, like your team's not. I wouldn't say that the team is necessarily built for that, right? Love Jared Goff. I gave him a lot of praise, a lot of respect. He had a great game, honestly. I mean, he didn't play bad, but that's not Tom Brady. That's not Pat Mahomes on that, in that Lions uniform. But you can take that chance and be like, honestly, I got a guy that's gonna make sure we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have that. You have a great offensive line, great offensive coordinator. Amon-Ra's a great receiver, but I mean, he's probably your best receiver. You see what happens. Like, you're reeling Josh Reynolds, it's down your leg. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happens when you take those opportunities, those chances. Now you need plays, need them, and they couldn't get it done, man. But I don't want to, I don't want to go too much without talking about Brock Purdy. I put Brock Purdy had a special game. He really showed some things. I never seen Brock Purdy, use his legs like he did, make some big throws. I mean, is it time for us to just put the whole Brock Purdy overrated thing to bed now and just accept like this guy's here. He's playing for a Super Bowl. Mr. Relevant means nothing. This is a guy that can have success sustainably for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think we have to label him even a top 10 quarterback if
Right,
that's not how you see it. But
right.
I think we can kind of shake. I think everyone's just so caught up on the, Mr. Irrelevant, how long can this last pick in the draft, keep this up? It's got to be coaching. It's got to be the players around him. And I mean, look, we've seen numerous quarterbacks in this system not work out. Trey Lance, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy G had a couple good years and then he fell off. Like, part of it for sure is definitely the system and the players around him. But when you're down 17 in NFC Championship and every throw matters, got to have it possessions and you're at the forefront of that, making those big plays. Yeah, some of them lucky. Lucky plays are on your side. Look at the David Tyree catch in the Super Bowl. Like it's football, shit happens. But he still was able to go out there. There was plenty of other throws in that game that were spectacular from him. So, you just got to give him credit. He's clearly proven to be a capable starter in this league, a pretty damn good one at that. So, I'm not necessarily here calling him top 10, but he's certainly better than a lot of quarterbacks out there, right now. And he's lucky, he's fortunate enough to be playing on the best, probably the best roster in football, and he's got them in a Super Bowl. So got to give him his props.
Yeah, I mean it's so funny because we see how like just how important quarterback play is, right? Like you can have teams that have immense talent with a no good quarterback and they'll just never be successful, right? You can have teams with no talent and a great quarterback, and we got championship opportunities. So you can't knock a guy because of the scheme that he's in. At the end of the day, like Brock Purdy has to deliver the pass on time and accurately.
Look at Dak Prescott, man.
Like
9 all pros.
you, and
Brock Purdy in two, Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy in 2 years has more NFC Championship appearances than Dak. It ain't like Dak ain't been playing with some bad rosters now.
and it's just you got to call it what it is. And I wish more people would take that into account. Like the guys, like you say, he don't have to be top 10 to you. I wouldn't say he's a top 10 quarterback, but
Mm-hmm. He's getting the
shoot,
job done. Shit, it's a
exactly.
lot of quarterbacks in the same situation that can't get the job done.
A lot of general managers, owners, front offices that would be just fine to have to pay what Brock Purdy's going to cost to get what Brock Purdy gives you, right? Like Brock Purdy's not going to give you a Pat Mahomes contract, but he's getting me to the Super Bowl. I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's amazing. So you can't discredit a guy just for being in the right system, being in whatever. Like give all credit to the team. Like give all the credit to the coach, whoever you want to. We can say we want about Brock Purdy, but you can't say the guy doesn't win. You can't say the guy doesn't get it done, man. So, we teeing up for a Niners versus Chiefs Super Bowl. And like I said, man, we'll get into that next week. We got a Super Bowl special for you guys. But we're gonna move on, man. You know, we got some stuff in the NBA that's just really, just I feel like it needs to be touched on. You feel like it needs to be touched on. And that's with the scoring, right? Before I get into it, I'm gonna say I am one of the main, I'm a firm believer rather, and this is the most talented era of basketball ever. The deepest era. Like you got guys on the bench that will like when you see guys load manage, you see teams sit out guys, you see injuries, whatever, and you got a guy coming off the bench, ninth, 10th, 11th guy on the bench that you haven't seen play all year, and he's giving you 20, 25. You like how can you argue against this being the deepest era, when it comes to talent in the NBA? So, I'm just get right to it. So we got Luka, Embiid, Book, Cat, guys that had like what? Then we had Luka has 70, Embiid did Embiid have 72?
Luka at 73 and B
Yeah,
70
yep. Then we had Kate Book, Cat have had 60-point games just in this last really just in this year. I mean,
last week.
yeah. So like the NBA, man, we got a lot of scoring and there's been a lot of talk on social media, ESPN, NBA TV, wherever you get your NBA consumption, um, about the scoring and is it a problem? So like I'm gonna say like for you now, do you think this is a bad thing for the NBA? Does the NBA have a scoring problem, or is it just like I said, like shoot, these guys are just too good. Like you can't really knock guys for being able to do what they can do.
Now, I mean, like, look, I don't think it's an issue. Now, do I necessarily enjoy seeing, shit like 80% of games in like the 120s? Not really. I'm more of like a 100 to 110 kind of guy. That's kind of my speed. I like Pop say I like a little nasty in my NBA games, but like I said, that's just the evolution in where this game is going. I mean, think about where it was like 50 years ago, where you know we didn't see creativity and ball handling, and guys shooting threes and doing what they do. So I mean, the game's always changing, it's evolving. JJ Redick on his podcast pointed this out a couple weeks or a couple months ago about like there's barely a difference in 3-point percentage in the past like 15-20 years. Free throws taken overall, they've been going down steadily since like the 90s. So like it's really just the evolution of the game. More people are driving to the basket because there's so much space. The spacing and really just like the philosophy in which coaches want to play basketball now, and pretty much killing the mid-range shot, and only wanting threes and layups. So I think that's a big part of it. I mean, these are these are some of the most skilled basketball players that we've ever seen. I mean, I can remember a time where the 8th, 9th, 10th guy off the bench was just coming in just for cardio, just playing defense,
Get a couple fouls and get out of there.
Yeah, like now it's the 9th, 10th, 11th guy can come in and knock down 3-4 threes on a given night.
Change the game.
Yeah, so like it's just kind of crazy. We're just seeing just so many good players like coming in, and the league is only getting younger and younger. That's a conversation for another day, how that's affecting the league. But there's so much young talent coming in like every single day. The spacing, everyone shooting threes. So I mean, it's just where the game is going. It's not my favorite kind of basketball to watch, but I still enjoy it. I'm not necessarily a hater of it, just because I'm more of a 2000s, 2010s kind of guy. But I guess it is what it is. Get with it, or don't watch.
If you don't like the product, I mean that's what it's expanding to. Like you look at guys like Victor Wembanyama that will one day be a 30-point scorer in the NBA. Like when he hits his peak, that's a guy that could average 30 and like 17 rebounds, right? We're gonna be upset at him because he averages 17 rebounds to go with 30 points? Like you said, man, that there's coaches whose philosophies are we want a shot up in the first 10 seconds. Meaning from the minute we get that rebound, we got 10 seconds to get a shot up. Like That's how you get more possessions, more scoring, more whatever. Like that's just the style of play. It's guys like you can't pack line in today's NBA. Your five can stretch the floor and shoot the ball. You know, like
The days and the days of like the Dabo Cephalosha's and
don't
Andre
need them.
Robersons,
Don't need them.
they ain't hitting the court.
Right.
It's
If you can't hit the tray ball, if you cannot, the NBA is evolving to explosive athletic point guards, big 3-and-D wings, and big men that can dribble the basketball and stretch the floor. And everybody's athletic. Everybody can run. Everybody can jump. You see like guys like Luka, Shea, like with that pace, like those guys are, that shows how special those guys are because they're not the most athletic player in the NBA, Jokic, right? But that shows how skilled they are, right? In a league where I'm going against a 6'9", 7'5" wingspan, 40-inch vertical guy that can slide laterally, put a shot off the glass, go down and hit a three ball. Like I'm still giving you 30 going at my pace because that's how good I am. Like the league is just too good. I mean, it's just too good.
Yeah,
Like
I think what's killing everyone is just like it's when the role players go off for a random 30 or 40 piece.
yeah,
Like PJ Washington getting 43. Like that's just random.
but and it is,
And why
but
are
it's
you letting PJ Washington score 43?
exactly because
I just feel like that wouldn't happen back in the day. Like
when
call
it,
me an old head,
the
but I feel like
coach,
no, we're not letting this bum score 43 on us. Like
nah,
that's just not happening.
you're
Not to say
taking
he's a bum, but we're not letting the fourth or
right,
fifth option on the team score 43.
right. He's not your number one. He's not your number two. But I mean, you think
But
about it, though, like
everybody can knock down shots now.
and that's another guy. He was a lottery pick. Like a lot of people forget, like a lot of these dudes in the league are guys that got picked between 7 and 20, and we kind of just forgot about them because we thinking, oh, like so and so got picked one, so and so got picked two. But it's like, bro, all these guys can play. Like Maxi, what pick in the draft was Maxi?
20 something.
I mean, come on. I got on here and made a big fuss about Emmanuel quickly on draft night. I wanted Tyrese Maxey. Max got picked 2 picks in front of quickly, and I'm like, we got the sorry one from Kentucky. We got the other guy, you know. But granted, Emmanuel quickly was a player of the year in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like there's so many guys that are just extremely talented, and I always say like it's just about opportunity at this point. Like, would there be another LeBron? Maybe not. Maybe would it be another Giannis, Embiid, KD, like those type? Like I struggle with seeing the guys that are going to break that mold of I'm a mega star, right? But there's a lot more guys in the NBA that you're going to be like, does he deserve a max contract? Does he deserve a max contract? Like we be looking at guys like Jamal Murray, baller. He's making a lot of money. But would the average NBA fan be able to come back to me and tell me how many points Jamal Murray averages? And that's not me saying Jamal Murray's bad. So anybody listening, like I'm just picking a guy that's another max contract guy, but we wouldn't say he's a top 10 player, right? Like the time where I'm top 10 and there's a drop off is over, right? Like the 15th best guy in the league is a lot closer to the 10th best guy in the league. In Michael Jordan's NBA, that wasn't the case, right? Like all of the
That's a good
good
point.
players, all the good players played on the same team. 15 back then,
That's because they all do the same shit. Step back, side step three.
exactly, and that's the league. You got to have some shift to you. Can you shoot a step back? Can you go rebound the basketball? Can you give me a putback dunk? You're like, you Cam
Step
Thomas,
backs used to be cool because there used to be
right?
like 5 players in the league that
And,
would do
and,
it
and you
like
were doing
twice a
step,
game.
and
Now
you're
I
doing
see this
step back.
shit every damn night in every game like 20 times. Like I'm
Exactly.
just like,
And that's
damn.
frowned upon, bro. Like you get in the pack. Do you practice that shot? You know what I'm saying? You can't, like everybody don't get to do that in the 90s. You shoot step backs, you like, oh, this man a wizard. You know what I'm saying? Like what you got going on? But now you got guys come across the timeline, 1 foot in, look you in the face and shoot the tray ball and hit it like 3, 4 times in a row. You know what I'm saying? You doubling Kevin Durant. I watched KD play yesterday against the Heat. They sent him the double. Harold trying to come over. I'm like, he's too late. You getting shot over every 7 feet. Kevin Durant, I'm shooting over you. You know what I'm saying? So overall, man, I don't think it's a scoring problem. I think it's just exciting basketball, man. I know the offensive guys, you want to see those guys, but that's what makes those players that much more special. I mean, I argue with a friend of mine about OG Anunoby, you know, Knicks 12 and 2, 13 and 2, whatever.
There's still some
There's some
great
guys,
defenders out there.
but he'll still get 25. Like, you'll be like, oh, who did he guard? Oh, he guarded so-and-so. Well, he had 25. Like, no. You got to watch what happened. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch the switch off. I get to switch from OG to Josh Hart. Now I'm going at Josh Hart. I'm getting
Like even
transition.
even then, it's just like a
It's
guy
too
can
hard
have
to see
20. A guy
guys.
can have 25, and 8 of his shots were just
Exactly.
tough
Exactly.
shots. Like, and you just gotta. Great offense is going to be great defense any day. You just got to tip your cap to them.
We at the point in the NBA now where we're like, you're charting guys for, did you make him take a tough shot? If you did, that's a win. You know what I'm saying?
We'll
Because
take it.
there's guys like, bro,
I,
how many
I
times
think
do you
more of
got?
the I think more of the issue isn't, I guess, necessarily the offensive explosion. I think it's just more the intensity of the regular season.
And that
You
that
know,
that's a good point. That's a point I was going to bring up. I think what we'll see more, which is why so much more now than before. I think you hear guys talking about, oh, he don't do that in the playoffs. And like we talked about last week with Embiid, right? Like, Embiid's not going to score 60 in the playoffs, bro.
ring culture.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he not averaging the same 35, and it's a different
Bro, I
intensity.
don't think anyone has ever scored 70 in the playoffs.
And if they do, the playoffs will become rendered
I think
useless.
Michael Jordan is 60. Isn't Michael Jordan 63 the record
At
for
five,
most points in a playoff game?
hey, you're more of a stat guy than me. I wouldn't
I
know,
I
but
think
I
it
believe you.
is.
I believe you, and like that's something that won't be passed. But in a regular Wednesday night, I'm Joel Embiid. I got to go play against the Charlotte Hornets. I can 75% my way to 40 because, like we were talking earlier, the Hornets on the bench laughing. They don't care. They know we're not good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some teams, you got guys that's like, hey, shit, we can't guard them, so we might as well just try to go get 40 back. Like, that's just what it is. Like, you can't expect in today's NBA with low management, the analytics, all the, like, guys don't play hard every possession. You know, coaches are preaching for guys to try, but it's like, why would I try if I can go ahead and get 35 on the other end? If I'm Joel Embiid, why,
The
why,
three
why?
point. That's why I hate the 3 point shot, because it's just like I
Hey,
feel I feel like games can get lopsided like
oh,
quick,
quick,
just because like
quick.
damn, they done made 15 threes in the first 20 minutes, and shit, we only made two. And
It's the
back in the
same.
day, it's just like shit. All right, if I'm struggling on offense, like
It's a
you
bad
ain't
night.
you ain't you ain't about to you ain't about to score 120, 100 every night. So like I got me a chance maybe,
Bro,
but
when
nowadays it's like shit.
when
People
have we
score
had?
80 in the first half, and it's just
Yeah,
like, all right, I might as well just hit up my shorty, told her to get ready. This game is over.
bro, like, what Book had, like, what, 30 something in the first quarter? Like, bro, we see games now where, like, in the NBA, we go into a fourth quarter of a game up 20, and we still gotta play. You know what I'm saying? So you hit four threes, it's a
Yeah,
12-0
yeah.
run. It's an 8-point game.
It's the great equalizer, man.
It's a different time, man. You can live by it, die
But
by it.
when them threes ain't hitting, good lord, watching a team just miss 10 straight threes is just crazy.
It's and that's another thing to it. Like, you get the, ew, this is hard to watch when you got like teams that want to shoot in the first 10 seconds and they want to shoot 30 plus threes a game and they're off. You're like, yo, what am I watching? You know what I'm saying? You just watching three, but that's where the game's trending. That's what the analysts say.
Until we get into the playoffs, and then
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 it
shit
goes.
slows down, and we playing more half court basketball than then we really find out
Look,
what people are made of. But
my
that's why it's a struggle to get through, because the game is just
it's
it's
hard.
just so up and down during the regular season, and then playoffs. That's when we actually get some real half court basketball, and you got to strategize for 7 games. I mean, like I get it, but the playoffs is a different monster. But there used to be a lot more of that in the regular season too.
Yeah, and that's what, like, we kind of have to move as fans to be excited about. Like, there was a time where people would complain, oh, 82 games, that's so long, that's so
I used to
long.
be like, what? No, you can increase it. I
You know,
will watch basketball year round.
but now you got guys all through the year. You got nights where you got Cam Thomas 40, you got the Embiid 70s, you got the PJ Washington 40s, you got Brunson 30, you got Maxey 35. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a night in, night out. Like, Hey, you want to watch some basketball? You want to see how good these players are? Hey, there you go. And if you want to watch a slugfest, you gotta wait till the playoffs. You know, like there's the prime time games that'll get a little more attention. Like you'll see, you know, like the in season tournament. Some of those games are really intense, but most NBA games, them guys don't really lock in until the last 6 minutes of the fourth. You might get the last six of the second quarter and the last six of the fourth quarter. Whatever happens in between that, nobody
Yeah,
cares.
seriously,
You know what I'm saying?
seriously. That's
I
what I'm
watched
saying.
the
I found myself not really like I got league pass, but I'll just wait till the games hit the fourth quarter to turn it on because
I,
that's when I know like they really gonna be going at it,
I
especially if
tried
it's a close game.
I tried to watch the Hornets and the Knicks game the other day, and it was just like the Knicks are beating them, but Dante DiVincenzo got 30. He doing sham guys. I'm looking like this man don't even do. I'm saying Brunson. I mean, Julius off the floor, OG off the floor. We playing the Hornets. We gonna do whatever we want to do. Like it's you just gotta watch it at the end. Really, and that's what I did. I tuned into the end. That's when a 15-point game is considered close. Still, we got crowd yelling and stuff. You got a layup and whatever. But dude, the NBA is just trending in that way, man. It's as simple as that. Um, guys, guys got to get their averages right. Like stat pad is a thing. We used to complain about Russ.
Well,
Guys,
hey, like
guys are looking up at
you
that
got you
number.
got the max and the super max, so now guys gotta hey, I gotta get all NBA so I can get this super max. I gotta get my numbers up. I gotta get my shots up.
Hey, if the fan, my thing, if the fans want to complain about it, blame the ring culture, blame the accolade culture. You got to have this, and this to be considered top five. If you don't have it, it don't count. So you can't be mad at Embiid for scoring 70. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he flopped, da da da. But then you like, can he be a top three player any other way? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he supposed to do? So I don't like the people that try to put so much,
Yeah, because we're running out of. I've been saying this for a long time. We're running out of real NBA fans. Like
yeah,
people don't want to just watch basketball and enjoy greatness anymore. We got to be like, hey, and it is weird because we only shit on like the top 10 to 15
yeah.
players. Nobody is shitting on the 12th man on the bench that's airballing threes.
But you
The
remember how
dude,
close we get with Brian Scalabrine? Bro, we was
oh
growing
my
up
god, yeah,
from
yeah, the
Scalabrine.
crowds
You
will
know what
go
I'm saying?
crazy when he would come in. The
The
White
night,
Mamba
that
that career average of like 6 points a game. Like,
like,
but we'll sit here and nitpick about Kobe and LeBron and all the all time greats. Like it just makes no sense. So like yeah, it's like nobody's career means anything until you win like 2 championships and 3 MVPs.
gotta win the
So
championship, be the MVP. You gotta
it's
LeBron
weird.
get crap, like Steph and LeBron get crap for not winning finals MVPs and stuff. Like, bro, the man win the Steph win the ring or not? Like, why are we mad that somebody else got the finals MVP? And how do we hold that against them? It's just weird altogether, man. And it drives me to my next point because we talk about MVPs, talking about accolades. The last thing I want to touch on for this episode, man, is the All-Star starters. So out in the East, we got Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Tyrese Halliburton. Of that five, who would you say is the least deserving to be on that list? If anybody.
Wait, did you say the East or the West?
East. Dame, Embiid, Tatum, Giannis, Tyrese Halliburton.
I mean, like they all deserving, I guess. Like if you want to nitpick at Dame, sure, but
Yeah, I do actually.
still, it's still, yeah, I'm sure you do. But it's Damian Lillard. Like
Yeah.
he's still putting up good numbers on the
It's,
top team. Like I'm not about to complain about All Star starters. Like who
it's,
cares?
I thought it was more so a funny thing because like yeah, ideally I would say Brunson over Dame, whatever, but that goes back to what we've been talking about, right? Like one, there's a fan vote for fans that don't watch the games, right? So if you looking at a list, you got Damian Lillard or Jalen Brunson on it. I'm sure more people would be aware of who Damian Lillard is. They're probably like, oh yeah, Dame's nice, whatever. I'm not saying he's not deserving. I got a text from the West starters. I'll go to the West. LeBron, KD, Joker, Luca, Shai Alexander. Good list, right? I wouldn't complain with that list.
Yeah.
But Steph Curry's not on that list. I got a text. I was like, do you think Steph should have been in? I'm looking on Twitter, people talking about no Steph, no Steph, no Steph. Judging by the stats, judging by the eye test, all things considered, who on that list would you put Steph over? Nobody. He's not having a better year than Shea. Shea's averaging 30. Luka's averaging 30, what, 5, 38 almost. Joker's Joker. You're not going to put him over the big. LeBron's LeBron. KD's KD. So it's interesting. What I wanted to look at is how we see some new guys kind of breaking into it, right? The Tyrese Halliburtons, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. But then on the back end, that means some guys that we've come to know and love, the Stephs, well, I'm gonna say Chris Paul because of the fact like Chris Paul was always an all-star starter, granted, not deserving, but you got guys, new blood getting into the all-star game. And do you think with that, like with the new blood, with guys that are more deserving than others, how much of the fan vote or just the voting in general do you think needs to be restructured to get a more like, I mean, I would say in this list isn't bad, but we got the snubs or the guys like the Maxis that could have had a case, right? The Brunsons, the Steph Currys, whatever. Like, what do you do in a league where you got guys that's putting up 30 a night? How do you leave those guys off?
I mean,
You know?
we talked about this. The league is just it's too talented. Like shit, we can't start 8 motherfuckers. Like you only got 5 spots, so like it's like 10. It's
You just gotta be good
you
with
could legitimately have 10 guards that have a case to start the All Star game. Like it just is what it is. Sometimes this year, sometimes it's not. Like we know for years, it's always been starting and the All Star game is a popularity thing. Like dudes that'll deserve it and have earned it most likely will get in with the coaches vote, hopefully. But I mean, they already tried. I feel like they've done as much as they can. It used to be just an all fan voting thing. Like you got coaches and player voting. Like you're never going to get this 100% right. Like it's never going to be 100% right. So, I like the idea of having, fan, player, and media vote, all kind of, you know, added up together. But there's always going to be somebody left out. That's just how the league is. We're getting, we talked about the evolution and how talented it's getting. There's only going to be, the one thing they can do is, obviously expand the all-star rosters to 15. But other than that, there's always going to be snubs.
Mm, yeah. I agree with you. I don't think it's really much you can do, when it comes down to voting. Like, I think like voting, I mean, the reality is part of it is going to be personal preference, right? I mean, part of it's going to be notoriety. Part of it's going to be who you at. Like LeBron will probably be an all-star starter until the day he decides to step foot off the court, right? It is what it is. He's earned his stripes. He's earned that I guess that recognition. I don't know if I necessarily want to see it expand. I kind of don't like stuff like that. It's similar how I feel about like the college football playoff. It's just like, oh, we can't make everybody happy, so just let everybody in. I don't want the league to expand to that. So hopefully we don't move into that direction, honestly. Um, but hey, I say all this to say, I think the NBA is in a really good place, man. I think scoring is not a bad thing for the league. I don't think the All Star game. I mean, the All Star game is getting a little more competitive, I guess. They put in a
Are
little
they
more.
supposed to be going back to? I thought I saw somewhere they were going back. They were thinking about going back to East West.
Yeah, I don't
Or are
know.
they doing team captains this year again?
Yeah, I feel like if they were doing team captains, they would have already voted by now, right? Well, no, they
Nah,
wouldn't
they
put.
they usually do the draft before
Yeah,
the
they do.
game or like a week
I
before.
mean, hey, look, if whatever will make it fun, I feel like the All Star thing. The objective isn't for it to be. Is the objective is for it to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting, like a little weekend getaway, haha. It's not the Pro Bowl when it comes to just pure wastefulness. So it'll be an exciting time, and I think they have enough incentives in it to kind of drive it, and I hope people, you know, look at stuff like the All Star game. Like this is a chance for you to watch these guys do this for fun. You can watch carefree basketball. They just go out here playing pure talent. I think the talent around the league deserves more respect, deserves more credit. Um, the coaches that are able to scheme and win games, like the Eric Spoelstras and stuff, right? Like even your guy Nick Nurse, that able to scheme and find defensive Tom Thibodeau too. I can't disrespect my boy. We the best defensive team in the league. Like, there's teams out here that are doing it, right? But it requires building a certain type of roster, right? It requires being a certain type of coach, having a certain type of philosophy. And I think that's what sometimes people forget. Like, it's not so much as Dame and Giannis being on the same team and thinking that's going to result in wins, you know? If you want your team to score more points, you go add Dame. You want them to play defense, you keep Drew Holiday, right? So just, I liked your point about we were losing NBA fans. We need people to be more like, enjoy the sport, right? Like, help the sport continue to grow and build. Like, we see what's happening overseas. Like, that's pure fandom, right? Like, those fans overseas are a different type of fan than the American fan. And that's why you see those European guys. Basketball is starting to become more and more of a thing, more and more serious. I mean, so, you know, I'm cool with the league. I'm cool where we're headed. I think,
I like it. Look, it's still entertaining. Like especially like the individual performances. Like it's the most space these superstars get to play with. You watch a game from back in the day. You always see two bigs, clogging the lane. You might have another wing guy on there that can't shoot, so that person's clogging it up. So, we're getting a chance to see individual greatness on a nightly basis. So I mean, it's fun to see. There's still some good things about it. In my opinion, but it's not my favorite era of basketball personally.
Yeah, that's okay. And
that's cool.
Will the next era of basketball will be another sight to behold when everybody's 7 feet, so it's just gonna keep evolving, man. It's gonna be something that we gotta see. So I want everybody, man, like, hey, chime
think
in.
We'll have you think there'll ever be a 4-point line? Probably. That'd be interesting.
It'll force his hand. If once it gets to the point where everybody can shoot the 3-ball, which is getting real
from half court.
Shoot, I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna be. I don't. I mean, we've seen leagues like like the Big Three and stuff. They got it in there, so it's there. There's places that we've seen examples of it, but I don't know, man. The NBA is gonna be weird, real soon. So, I want everybody to chime in, man. When this drops, like, let us know what your favorite era of the NBA is. Maybe that's something we can do. As a poll. I mean, I don't know how many people that listen would be like, oh, the 60s. Like, you say that, I'm not gonna block your comment, but hey, to each his own, man. But hey,
we might have a couple old heads, tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, we might with the 60s. And I don't know if we got any old heads that's rocking with the 60s. 80s, 90s, I get it. That was when the fun era kind of began with, you still had the other stuff, but like I said, wasn't as deep of a time. So, we'll see. But hey, that's gonna do it for us for episode 26 now. We got into a lot of stuff with the NFL. We're gonna give you all our Super Bowl preview. None but Super Bowl talk next week, man.
Spoiler, it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, probably.
Never picking the 49ers.
Me neither. I'll probably, yeah.
I don't want to ever see Kyle Shanahan raise a trophy in San Fran.
Okay, so
I am player hating.
Nell said it. So, stick with us for that one. Be on the lookout for that. As always with this one, like, subscribe, comment on the YouTube, comment, share on Instagram, TikTok. The TikTok is booming now. I was looking at it the other day, man. We got like 100-something likes on our last video alone. So it's exciting, so everybody keep showing us love. If it's anything y'all want to see, anything y'all want to hear about, you want more guests, you want to be a guest, I don't know, let us know. We can always look into it. Keep things fresh as we go ahead and close out season 3 soon, because we're almost at 30 episodes now. Wow, it's been a time.
Sheesh.
So, with that, man, we appreciate all of y'all as always. You don't have to tap into this, but those of y'all that do, thank you. We're really grateful for each and every one of y'all. We're gonna keep trying to get better, man. So that's gonna close it out. Season 3, episode 26. Peace.